radio station in Tallahassee. We are local, and we appreciate your support for all things local. Do business with people who do business with us, and we uplift as a community, right? That's the idea. Pass it around. And for those of you watching on YouTube, Warchant TV, that too is greatly appreciated. You know, it's funny, when we started that little venture on the YouTube channel, and I was able to join forces with my friends at Warchant. It all culminated at the right time. You know, Tom, I think when we first got this thing going, and you've had a huge role in the elevation of the YouTube channel, this thing, 20,000, now we're over 50,000 or something like that on a regular basis on the YouTube channel, subscribers wise. That's pretty cool. It just keeps growing. It's great to see.
It is. People's attitudes change, their habits change, but YouTube has been in a nice little role here as an outlet for people to enjoy the content that they want. It's been one of the answers, without getting into a lecture on campus at Florida State. You talk about habits changing and segmentation. Many choices instead of, how many news channels did you have growing up? 3, 4?
Well, when I grew up, yeah, you basically had ABC, CBS, and NBC when I was little, yes.
Now you can have all things at all times, whatever you want. YouTube has been a great answer to that. It's considered kind of social media adjacent. Of all of the social media platforms, I think YouTube is the best. And thankfully, we have a lot of people who latched on to the channel because we have the shared passion of Florida State. And they also, for those of you that are watching on Facebook or X as well, we appreciate you just as much. But YouTube has been the one that carries the day when we see the numbers. Yeah, man, over 50,000. And I would imagine if we ever get into the Power 2, that number would double in a matter of a year or two, because you get all the crazies from Oxford and from Starkville and many places saying, well, we need to know about our SEC rival, Florida
State. I don't know
State.
how much they would enjoy watching me make fun of them, but I would.
Well,
as I always have.
Love or hate, don't be indifferent. I think you check off one of those boxes.
I do agree with that. Swiss Irish, thank you. You write, sorry about your Mets, Tom, and sorry about Dave Parker, Jeff. Tom and I were at the game where they made the announcement and put it up on the screen on the Jumbotron there that Dave Parker had passed. And you and I had been so busy having fun, going to the game the day before, and then going out to have a nice dinner and maybe a few adult beverages afterwards, that I don't know that we even knew that news going into the ballpark that day. And I was caught off guard. Normally that's something it would be on my radar, but I wouldn't have been in a game the night before. And so, like, once we're on vacation, I'm not checking social media. So it's like I wasn't looking at anything. And that happened. And it kind of took my breath away. I'm not going to lie a little bit. I said that to you. I was caught off guard. They did a great moment of silence for Dave Parker, and they had a great image of Dave up on the big screen. And I think that anybody listening to this can relate to this. You don't have to care anything about the Pirates, and you don't have to care anything about Dave Parker. But we all had a favorite player or a multitude of players that we loved when we were kids and emulated when we played Little League baseball. And, I tried to, from the right side, twirl my bat the way that Willie Stargell did from the left side. But the follow-through, I would try to emulate Dave Parker's follow-through. He had a flair for the dramatic with the way that he would whip the bat through and follow through. And it was always a few Pirates that I wanted to be like. And those were my top two because those were my guys. I was 8, 9, 10 years old, and they were great. The Pirates won the World Series and went to the playoffs, and I was seeing those guys all the time. So I'm at an age, and you're getting to be at an age where this is what happens. Sports heroes of yours, actors and musicians and authors and people that shaped your worldview or helped inform the way that you watched a sport or anything for that matter, begin to pass away. And you go, A, that's a startling reminder of your mortality. And B, you just mentioned the word adjacent a moment ago. I think about this. I think about your sports heroes being adjacent to, at least within the era and the ages of our parents and our grandparents and the people that you start getting reminded that they too will not be here. And that's a toughie.
Well, you always latch on to players that your parents liked as well. You might not have the same affinity for them, but I can tell you that there are certain players in years and years of season tickets of Tampa Bay Lightning games that when I was a kid, I took note that my dad thought that this guy played the game the right way.
Right.
Mikhail Anderson, number 34. Ain't nobody remembers him except the Lightning lifer. He's a penalty killer.
Right.
He'd score you 2 or 3 shorthanded goals a year. He was tiny, but he fought. He fought really hard.
It was tough. You appreciated his
dad
game.
loved him.
Yeah.
So therefore, I wouldn't remember him right now if it wasn't for the way I watched my dad watch that player. So there will be a broadcast 20 years from now where Mikhail Anderson's passed away. Oh, yeah. I don't remember him, most people would say. And I'll be like, well, damn. Dad loved Mikhail Anderson.
Yeah.
This one hurts. And we were sitting in the 200s level for that particular Pirates game. You could hear people audibly react to the news. They did.
They were gasping. Yeah.
Many people had no idea. And I know I didn't, but it was whoa, because the Hall of Fame induction is next month. And that's hard, man.
I'm just happy he knew. I'm just happy he knew.
Yep.
That's
probably more important is the call than the speech. It's the call you get to be recognized for the player themselves. They give back with the speech, and some of them want to stamp their legacy, no doubt. But you get the call. Like, think about if Jimmy Johnson passed away 3 days after they got on the set
cool
of Fox
video,
Sport. Yeah. I mean, like, that's the moment right there, because that's the recognition.
It is, and I always root for that, for people to see it before they pass, and he got that. Listen, Parkinson's is evil. You'd watch what it did to such a big, strong man. I've seen it in my own life with people in this community. We all know, Michael J. Fox and all that. There's a lot of guys where you watch that play out. It's hard when you see an athletic hero, somebody who is so physically dominant, who had that level of prowess at the highest level of the game, to then be left a shell of themselves and incapable of the easiest of functions, such as walking and talking and reaching and shaking hands and those things. So it's tragic, and in a weird way, you're almost relieved also. But yeah, thanks for that. It just sent me down a tangent there, and I appreciate that. But no, we all share that as sports fans. We do. We share those kinds of things.
Was there a lot on the Mets yesterday on headlines?
No, people brought up that.
In the chat, they're like, "Hey, Tom's back. Careful on them." Hey, man.
No, I brought up the fact that you handled it with ease. That you've been around the block, seen some. Now,
with that franchise, come on, man. I am prepared for anything.
I will say,
even history.
It was historical, and that is interesting. You don't see. I mean, it wouldn't have been shocking that the Pirates swept the Mets. The Mets are in a bad way right now. We're not good, but the Mets are reeling with their pitching staff. So I didn't go into it thinking we were going to get our ass kicked. I thought it should be a good series. One team's not good. That's Pittsburgh. The other's not in a good way right now. So that ought to be interesting. And let's just go watch the games. What I did not think would happen is that it would be grossly lopsided in historic fashion, and that every game would be an ass beating. I did not suspect that would happen, but you, sir, rolled with the punches and enjoyed the ballpark.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
It is a beautiful park. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you were sick of it. I'm like, man, we don't have any pitching, and I'm sure on the flight up, on the cab ride from the plane, on the walk to the stadium, on the stop to the bar before game one. All right, man, I get it. Your guys are hurt. No, I mean, like, we don't have any pitching. And then you saw it, and you're like, ooh, you guys don't really have any pitching. That's right. We don't have any pitching.
Alex, what's the likelihood that Malik Beasley won't play in the NBA again? Well, it's got to be tough on Malik Beasley, because he was in the midst of discussing a 3-year, $44 million deal with Detroit. I can't fathom the decision-making that's gone on in this he's not a young man anymore, this man's life. I'll let you know a secret. Tom and I are going to talk about that in the third hour. But he's under a federal investigation for gambling, in addition to having judgments levied against him for $36,000 here, $24,000 there, $48,000 there, $100,000 there. I don't know how, when you look at his career earnings, which are in the neighborhood of $60 million in a 9-year career, how you could ever be in a position to owe celebrity barbers and dentists money. I don't understand how you could be in a position to risk your freedom, let alone your career. on what he's alleged to maybe have done regarding the gambling. We're waiting to still see about that. There have been no charges officially filed on that, so I want to be careful about how I phrase it. But he is being investigated, and it is federal, and the league has looked into it, and his lawyer announced, I just read this morning, I think in the New York Times, that they're obviously they're complying. So there's something there. It's just bizarre to me, and I don't get it. I'm sad about it. And it's a shame. It's a damn shame. I think there's a very good chance, Alex, to answer your question, I did anything but there. I think it's a very good chance Malik Beasley doesn't play again. You can have all of the things I just mentioned as an albatross. You can have all of the weight of that, and you can still survive it. People have survived way worse. That's bad PR. That's bad money management. That's fixable. The leagues don't put up with anything to do with gambling. And David, I see you put gambling addiction as a thing. It is a real thing. It is a very real thing, and people need to be mindful of it. And certainly it's brought up anytime gambling's brought up. The difference here is that what he's alleged to have done has very little to do with a gambling addiction or gambling as it's traditionally known. This would be something different than a gambling addiction, especially because you're talking about prop bets on yourself, and that is something you manipulate. Gambling, I would define a little bit differently. I understand you could say this is semantics, but this is something oddly a little bit more insidious and not good. We'll see what's going to happen. He's in a tough place to be right now. I just find it shocking. I really enjoyed covering him when he was here, and he was a fun person to talk to. And he was, if you recall, a guy who loved, in the brief time that he was here, he loved being at Florida State. He loved Florida State, and he said as much repeatedly. I don't think any of us saw this coming. So, it's always a reminder and I don't know what he's guilty of and what he's not. We'll all let it just play out and see. But I'm reminded all the time when it comes to covering a coach or a player, you can only get so close. We only know so much about people. And that includes the other way. Like, a guy could be here and maybe have a bad reputation for a variety of reasons. Maybe early on in his tenure as a football player, a high-profile kid gets into a fight, and the way it reads is ugly. And you go, oh, I don't know if this is a good guy or not. He hit a guy at the cafeteria. This seems like a ne'er-do-well, and he gets off to a bad start. And then let's say a year later, he gets popped for a DUI. And you're like, man, he got into a fight his first year here. Now he's got a DUI. And then you fast forward 10 years, and he's had a lengthy career, and he's being nominated for one of the NFL's most generous, players in the league. And he's become a beacon of light for the community that he plays in. And he's been happily married and has 2 kids, is a great father. You're like, well, I had him pegged all wrong. I thought that guy was a problem child. Turns out he just had a string of bad luck, a couple immature decisions, and he's actually a really good guy. It happens all the time, and it goes obviously in reverse too.
Well, it could be even simpler than that, because I think what you have to fight against as a media member who's working on the beat, I haven't done that in some time myself, but, if a guy is a jerk, that doesn't mean he's a bad person. It might just mean he doesn't like media interviews.
Right.
The guy might be a total jerk in breakout settings, or we had some offensive linemen here in the last decade, the early 2010s, 2 of them in particular, both played center for a good period of time.
Yes.
Worst interviews. The worst.
And not always friendly in any way, shape, or form.
No.
Almost trying to intimidate you, oddly.
Or just trying to be an ass for being, the sake of being an ass.
Yeah. I was on the wrong end of one of those conversations. So were you with the other guy. So, yeah.
Yeah. And it's just, and they're totally shut down. But that might just be that they don't, they're not comfortable and they don't want to deal with the media thing. So they feel like if they're going to be a jerk, maybe that saves them being requested next time. Might be actually pretty smart. But then you see them out walking through the streets of life, and you're like, oh, guy's a great guy. He just doesn't like what we do. Sometimes it's that simple.
Well,
Because there are plenty of smooth talking guys that are gregarious, fantastic
And
personalities.
turn out to be terrible
like,
people, yeah.
Holy cow, he's capable of that. He was always such a nice guy. Well, he was nice when the cameras were on.
He understood how to play the game.
Right.
We are 51 days and 23 hours away from the start of college football. 51. How glorious is that tomorrow, right before the holiday, we'll be here live, obviously, on Thursday. That is tomorrow. We'll be live in studio here with you. Everybody's got Friday off. It's national holiday, obviously. But so we get to christen the 50-day mark, Tom, tomorrow.
All right.
Now, let's hope the momentum carries over. We're actually stalling a little bit right now, oddly. I'm going to admit to it, because we're supposed to learn of a commit or not here like in seconds.
Yes, I think it's going to be in the next hour.
So it was delayed.
It could have been an Eastern Central thing.
Okay.
Could have been. Might have been.
Whatever it might be.
I think things are going to, I think Florida State's going to have a nice, solid Wednesday afternoon.
Everybody thinks that. I've heard it since yesterday. It appears that's the projection for Ernest Rankins, a 4-star defensive lineman. A young man that, if he is to commit to Florida State today, is choosing between us and Auburn. Some say Purdue is in the mix too, inexplicably. But I would say, and listen, he's got scholarship offers from the likes of Georgia and Ohio State. Now, everybody out there, right? This is a big-time recruit. This is a top 100, top 150 kind of guy. You're getting somebody of real note here on the defensive line, which is a big damn deal. You know, for me, it's offensive and defensive line. Over and over and over again, I say it. Offensive and defensive line. Give me the horses up front. We'll work in the rest. We can figure out the rest. If you get this kid, you continue a huge run. He's 6'6", nearly 300 pounds. He's a monster. It's a big get. And it looks like, and the leans are all saying, he's a no. He's going to Florida State. And again, I get it. The caveat is always going to be, great, go win some games or you won't get them. Yes. But this momentum and that good publicity and this turnaround in recruiting for Mike and his staff, and it's important now because Knighton is a big part of this recruitment as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now you're getting a new defensive line coach to go along with a new defensive coordinator, along with a new offensive coordinator. The problem is your offensive coordinator now doesn't really recruit. Mike's going to have to be that guy on that side of the ball. Ultimately, Mike always has to be the guy on any side of the ball. He's the head coach. But Gus ain't out there beating the streets, buddy.
No, but I would say that right now, if you're looking at staff member power rankings, Sertan/Cooper, and Evan Cooper's reputation was dogged on the trail, and so far he's living up to that, especially if Kennan closes and that decision is on July 6th. They're up there. Knighton has flipped from a place where he's tweeting at the fans are tweeting at him, pick a side, yada, yada, a couple months ago to now landing a few, nice pieces on the defensive front.
Well, people are looking at him like, hey, man, you going to do your job?
Right.
That's how that was presented. Yes.
Pretty much. And then Tim Harris at the receiver position, Florida State's done quite a lot of heavy lifting there.
Yeah.
So those are the guys right now that I would say are the hot commodities. The interesting thing is Herb Hand had been on a ton of kids, a lot of 4-stars visiting, landed visits, hit the trail, pounded the pavement, got in the car, went to see the kids in their high schools. Haven't come away with a ton of yeses there. So a few months ago, if you're just looking at trench recruiting, you're feeling a lot better about Herb Hand, and you're questioning, is Knighton going to do anything? And here
now
we
Knighton's
are.
got 3, maybe 4 guys coming in, and we're looking at Herb.
Right. There's a couple of nice, long-term bets. But in terms of blue chip, okay, now that's a dude. Yeah, it seems like Knighton is the one that has totally flipped the script.
Good.
And so here we are now on July 2nd. Probably the next 10 days might get 2 or 3 more.
I'll say this about the other side of it with Herb Hand and the offensive line. Go move the football on the ground this upcoming season. Go run the ball and have some success running the football, and you got a chance to change the perception of Florida State. To me, it would seem to be much harder, Tom, to get offensive commitments when you finished damn near dead ass last in almost every offensive category last year in a 2-10 campaign. It would be harder for me, I think, to win over kids to what you were. They need to see it. And you can tell people, we got a new offensive line coach, we got a new offensive coordinator, we've got a new receivers coach. You can tell them all those things. They just watched you score 14 points a game last year. That's tough. That's a show and prove. That's a show and prove. So I just think it'll be harder. But if they run the ball well, you'll start to see the offensive linemen get very, very interested, because this is a system that works for offensive linemen. Maybe not quarterbacks, maybe not elite receivers, although we're having some success there right now. But offensive linemen, yes.
Well, and short of those guys who are already 6'6", 310 or 6'7", 325, that there are available. Those guys are available every cycle. I feel like offensive line recruiting, specifically that position, is a tough one to pinpoint in terms of 3s and 4 stars.
Well, sure, because the advantages they have in high school.
Right. And Lord knows we signed quite a few 4 stars under Alex Atkins. Like we did. That's a thing that happened.
Didn't develop nary one of them.
The whole materialization thing.
Yeah.
Was a little tough.
Yeah.
Didn't materialize.
A lot of tough. Very tough.
Like for the 4 years, 5 years, you're looking at, okay, Otto might have a chance. And
frustrating.
That's about it.
All right, kiddos, heads up. Cornbread Hemp CBD gummies are made to help you feel better. You know that when it's, whether you stress you're dealing with, discomfort, maybe you just need to relax around bedtime, something like that. They only use the best part of the hemp plant, the flower. Yeah, buddy, the flower. For the purest form and most potent CBD, formulated to help relieve discomfort, stress, and sleepiness. Here you go. Right now, Jeff Cameron Show listeners can save 30% on their first order. Just head to cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. You use the code warchant at checkout. That's cornbreadhemp.com/warchant. Remember to use the code warchant.
Fireplace season may be months away, but chimney damage doesn't wait for winter. Now's the time to check for leaks, cracked bricks, or hidden debris buildup that can spark an emergency. J. Walker Enterprises offers full inspections, chimney sweeps, waterproofing, masonry repairs, dryer vent cleaning, and a whole lot more. Don't wait until everyone else is calling when the weather cools. Visit jwalkerenterprises.com and book your off-season service today. Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
Budget Blinds at Tallahassee is your local window covering experts. They do it all: blinds, shades, drapery, shutters, even home automation. And they'll be there with you from the design to the measuring to the installation. Budget Blinds is with you every step of the way.
Hello, I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Let us help you with your unique window treatment needs. Call us at 668-4835 for a free in-home consultation, or find us online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
Do you own a small business? Let me guess. You started your business so you could get bogged down with payroll and bookkeeping, office tasks, and other paperwork, right? Probably not. I'm Craig Collins with Collins Income Tax Solutions. Allow me to help you get out from behind your desk and get back to doing what you love. For any of your payroll, bookkeeping, or other business services, give me a call today and allow me to take it off your plate. You can find my contact information online at collinsincometaxsolutionsllc.com.
Is your lunch break feeling a little bland? Escape the ordinary with a visit to Café de Martín. Whether it's a fresh ceviche or a steaming plate of arroz con pollo, our Peruvian flavors turn any lunch hour into a culinary adventure. Fast, flavorful, and always unforgettable. Café de Martín is your new go-to for lunch. Visit the menu online at cafedemartin.com.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway.
Searching for the best place to spend time outdoors this spring and summer? The Golf Club at Summerbrook has all the amenities you and your family need. Purchase a family pool membership this season and enjoy the most luxurious and relaxing resort-style pool in the entire city with a 6,000 square foot deck, covered pavilion, and poolside drink and food service. You'll feel like you're on vacation. Reserve your pool membership today. Visit the Golf Club at Summerbrook.com or call 850-894-GOLF. That's 894-GOLF.
Science-backed, technology tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Really quickly, while we're getting into the nuts and bolts of things, it is a good couple of days to ask questions, so feel free, and I'll do the best that I can to get you some answers. I've seen this the last 2 days, so I want to make sure that I at least address this. Some of you are asking the questions about contracts. Corey brought it up yesterday on Headlines, and we were trying to discuss about how this works. And this is the dawn of a new age, so understandably there's confusion. But let's say today, and we don't know, but we're projecting, let's just say, that Ernest Rankins announces that he's committed to Florida State. He does not get rev share money upon that announcement. He has to trigger what is known as student athlete status. All right. He is not signing a contract, a rev share contract, until he's here, until he's enrolled, he's not going to get money from the university while playing out his final year of high school football. None of that happens. There's nothing binding. Nothing is binding until he triggers student athlete status, which means you're at practice. You are, it could be something as simple as
enrolled in classes.
In classes, you get the team issued gear, whatever. You're now here. You're part of the program. You've signed and you're now in, and you can opt into the rev share money. So nothing before that time is binding. And therefore, they're not, these aren't guys that are now under contract. They're not signing contracts until they're officially here. Maybe if he was an early enrollee, you could have a situation where it would happen sooner rather than later. But for the most part, no, that's not what's going on here, just so you know. So nobody, when these announcements happen, none of these guys are bound to anything until they trigger student athlete status. So just so you know that.
That makes sense. They can now, there is a provision, I don't know if it's state to state or federally, where kids can now make money off of their name, image, and likeness or some sort of payment in high school. That's true, but that would be separate from the university rev share contract in this particular circumstance.
Yeah. And there's a difference between in rev share money that you're getting
right from the institution that you've committed to. It's different than you could get paid for being a high school athlete from a local thing.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, private
entity.
Right,
yes.
Right. That is very different. So that's how this goes. That's what you're dealing with right now. What is it Mark brought up? I don't see this in the chat. You just
so Dellinger is tweeting out how there's a one-time transfer portal window that kicks in this month going to August, and there's a new term to be aware of for this one time. Now, that doesn't mean one time annually, as I'm reading this. It doesn't mean like this is the new thing every year. This is just a one-time
A waiver
post.
to permit athletes whose schools placed on designated student athlete list to enter the portal July 7th through the 5th of August.
Okay, so you pulled it up. Designated student athlete is the term.
Yeah.
That we just need to know for like the next month. That's it?
Grandfathered in.
Yeah. This is a post-house settlement adjustment period one-time transfer portal
Correct.
window. This is not the new annual calendar date that we've been talking about in previous weeks where college football coaches are clamoring for one portal and one portal only.
Right, that's different.
The SEC wants one part of the calendar for it to be the case. The Big Ten wants it to be a different part of the calendar. This is not that. This is something to help account for the new roster limits in the post-house settlement world.
This is no different than what was the hang-up for the deal going through. The judge was saying, no, you're not limiting kids' scholarships that were already under scholarship or had a deal.
Promised.
Yeah, promised. So you had to grandfather them in. This is grandfathering in something else. It is a one-time window for DSAs.
Yes, as I understand it, if I'm reading this properly, I believe I am, because On3 also stated it a little bit differently. And in their tweet, it says the NCAA Committee on Legislative Relief. Okay, so that committee name tells you that based upon house settlement, post-house settlement rules, we need relief. That's what this committee is for. Announced it will issue a waiver to allow athletes that are designated student athletes to enter the portal between July 7th and August 5th. So, no, I don't believe it addresses directly what we are all hoping for as
which is a one-time portal transfer window, and that is all you want.
Right.
That's where we're going to get to. This isn't that.
Meaning once annually. This means one time as in once this is over,
this is
it
just
doesn't
a
happen
get out
ever
of jail
again.
free card is what this is. Go ahead and do it. If you want to do it now. You
Yeah.
got till the 6th.
I think that's what this is all about. Yes.
So, and then to my point, and Dellinger addresses this to give credit where credit's due. An athlete is eligible to be placed on a DSA list if he would have been removed from the school's 25-26 roster due to the new roster limits. So that's the grandfathering in policy that was holding up the whole thing with the judge. Number 2 was an eligible member of a team in 2024-2025, and 3 was recruited and assured by a school of a 2025-2026 roster spot.
So essentially, new rules, the world changed. If you need to fix this, you can fix this, and here's how you fix this. So, yeah. I don't know if that means that the football team's going to land somebody new or run a couple of kids off. Don't know.
I would like to run some kids off.
I'm sure you would. But you've gone up from 85 to 105. I don't think there's going to be a numbers crunch in that particular sport.
I'd still like to run some kids off.
The whole thing that we're going to have to see is that the deadline for the university to submit names on this DSA list is Monday. So if Florida State is going to make any move from any of its programs to say it's been great, we'll see you around the bend, they got to do it by Monday.
Give me the roster. I'll check off the names of the people that I'd like to run off. We'll just go through here and be like, you need to be a DSA. You need to take it on down the road.
Go ahead, list them.
There are wonderful opportunities for you at Furman. There are chances for you to play at Troy. I'm telling you right now, East Carolina is calling. I think there's a window for you to make a difference at James Madison. And I would have them all come in one at a time. Be like, here you go. And then we would scoop up the other DSAs from places that have done well, and they've now entered. And you're like, oh, that's a replacement for my James Madison kid. And there's the replacement for my Furman kid. Let's go.
It feels like to me with the roster limits going up 20 spots. And I get that you have to naturalize walk-ons now as scholarship players. So there is addition from kids that were already on your roster. I can't imagine the football market's going to be that busy.
No, I don't think so.
There might be like a player or two, but I can't imagine this is going to impact football very much. This is probably for the smaller sports. Be my guess.
The guy that's a junior that's been here doing nothing for 3 years. That's right, Daniel. Delaware is calling.
Yeah. Hey, they've got cool helmets.
I found a spot for you with the blue hens.
It's like if Notre Dame's shininess with their helmet that they changed, and the Michigan helmet had a baby, that would be Delaware's helmet. It's the shiny blue and yellow.
Go try it on, young man.
You can go to the school that Joe Flacco went to.
And dominated. I thought Flacco went to Buffalo. It was Delaware?
I thought it was Delaware.
You-
Oh, man, if I get this wrong, that's very embarrassing.
Oh, I don't know
As one of the
about that.
captains
Well,
of Joe
you
Flacco's
you
fan
fly
club.
the flag for Joe.
A.K.A. Flactorious.
Flactorius is kicking ass in Cleveland. I believe, right?
He went to Delaware. Woo. Made me doubt myself.
I thought it was Buffalo. It was somebody else that went to Buffalo and shocked us all. My friends at Tried and True Consulting doing great things in the community, being a part of this show, advertising with the Jeff Cameron Show, and helping businesses in the Tallahassee community, Orlando, Atlanta. They are all over. Scan that QR code. 10% of the net revenue that they make goes to the Battles Inn. Still vitally important. If you call Don, Joe, or Rusty today, 844-464-6653, they'll get you started. It's restaurants, it's bars, it's dentist's office, it's car lots, it's auto repair, it's all of these places. If it's the business that you got, obviously got to process payments. They'll help you save tons of money. It's secure. They've been great for us. They've been great for several businesses that have taken them on in this community. I'm proud to work with them. Give them a call today. That's Tried and True Consulting.
Your local news now.
The U.S. Court of Appeals upheld a child pornography conviction on Monday in the case of a Tallahassee man. Run cold water taps for 5 minutes to remove any remaining odor. This is Rachel Anay with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Overcast this afternoon with thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 89. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight. Thunderstorms likely. Lows around 74. Highs around 91 with fog early tomorrow. Chance for storms. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 88 degrees.
Be Nice Tire and Auto Service at 4792 Bluntstown Highway today. The ASE trained technicians at Nice take the guesswork out of fixing your car. That's why wherever you see the Goodyear sign, you'll find what you want in tires and service. From preventative maintenance to a major overhaul and everything in between, you name it. Plus, Nice's services are backed by a nationwide limited warranty. Stop by Nice Tire and Auto Service. 4792 Bluntstown Highway, just west of Capitol Circle.
There is no Bigfoot, Eddie. Would you stop with that nonsense?
There's a Bigfoot, Jeff.
I wish there were. By the way, I don't want you to point to me as the guy that takes all the fun out of the room. I wish there was the Loch Ness Monster. I wish there was the Bigfoot. I wish there was the Chupacabra. All the things.
They're all mythical except for the Bigfoot. The Sasquatch.
The Bigfoot?
The Bigfoot. There's big feet. There's lots of them.
So like different, breeds, like different kinds.
There's like families. There's different families. And,
so there's if they're in the snow, you call them a Sasquatch
or the Yeti, right?
Yep,
and then here in Florida, that's a skunk ape. And I've
never heard that one. By the way, why do you think it's real? We would have found them by now.
They're the hide and seek champions of the world. Nobody finds the Bigfoot.
I think you believe in Bigfoot.
I do believe in Bigfoot.
You don't believe.
I believe in Bigfoot.
Don't tell anybody you believe in Bigfoot.
I would go look for Bigfoot, but he scares me.
Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Looks like Ernest Rankins will be announcing at 2 p.m. For those that are interested, I had a couple people ask, why aren't you talking about it? Well, because there's nothing to talk about. He hasn't committed yet. We're going to hold out hope that is confirmed, and we'll go from there. That'd be a big deal. Be a nice signing for Florida State on the defensive line, an area that I think Florida State's got to get a lot better at. They got to recruit much better than they have. They got to find some consistency and some depth. It's the biggest fear about going into this season for me is whether or not they are stout enough to handle physical downhill running teams that are going to challenge their size and their depth. And you know what? You might be fine with a couple of those guys, but who's behind them? You know, and even those that you're kind of comfortable with in terms of physical prowess still haven't shown you the ability to take over games and to dominate for stretches at a time, long stretches at a time. You worry about it. I worry about it. Darrell Jackson has the body type, has yet to have a dominant season. He's shown signs that he could be good, turned it on in the second half of the year, became a much better player than he was the first half of the year. There are even indicators that he's more mature, so he might be in the right headspace. But if Darrell doesn't become what his body suggests he should be, you're effed. Because, look, Daniel Lyons is fine. He's fine. Who else you got? I mean, we don't know. You can't expect Kevin Wynn to come in and dominate in year one.
No,
that's not fair.
KJ Sampson and maybe a transfer or two. But you also don't know what the scheme is going to ask these kids to do. You don't know if they're going to be 3 of them or 4 of them with their hand in the ground before the snap. They want 3, but it might be better for them to line up with 4. It's just, and they could line up in different positions along the defensive front based upon the opponent. This is a unique one for me because in the 15, 16 years, I think this is season 16 that I've been covering Florida State in some variety. Each of those years, you knew Jeremy Pruitt's defense was the biggest mystery, but you knew what it was because you watched Alabama. You watched Nick Saban.
Yeah.
This one is personnel driven. And also, you've got so many transfers. This isn't like the old era of college football where you knew what your roster was. You don't even know what the rotation's going to be beyond some of those names.
But I would even say to you, Tom, that let's just, say it's 3 or say it's 4. Mix and match with the conversation if you like. You know that Jenkins isn't going to play right away because he got hurt. So a guy you were going to depend on in some capacity is not playing early. I don't know if he's going to play at all. There's speculation he'll come back. I've learned wherever that speculation is about a player missing time due to injury in the offseason, I just go ahead and assume for my own peace of mind, he's not playing this year. He might, but I'm going to assume he's not playing this year. So you lost a key component that you thought you were going to plug and play. You know Darrell Jackson's going to play. But how good is Daniel Lyons going to be? How good is Deontay McCray going to be? How good is Deontay Diggs going to be? How good? I'm just trying to go through guys. You mentioned Sampson. I mean, okay. I mean, is he a great player? Not yet. Is he a good player? In spurts, he's okay. We haven't seen him do anything that would give you great hope that he could be awesome.
Sure, but you've seen him in a different system where they're asking different things and different leverage points. So,
I'm just projecting overall talent, what he would be like in terms of the best version of himself. We don't know what that looks like just yet. It ain't exactly an NFL caliber first-round pick. You can go ahead and say that he's not that right now. I don't think he projects to be that at any point either. So, I don't know. I worry about the level of talent and certainly the lack of depth at the position. Size, depth, talent. It worries me.
I can understand why. For me, I categorize it a little bit differently. It's just a great mystery. You could talk about potential. You could talk about depth, measurables in terms of the official roster. These are all legitimate places to point. I don't even know what they're going to be asked to do. You know, I know what defensive line goals are, like the general rule of the game, what the defensive line needs to do. But I don't know if they're just asking guys to collect blockers and pave the way
for their linebackers and safeties,
or if they're trying to have these guys get upfield and make plays in the backfield, or like I don't know what the goals are going to be. And Tony White doesn't have a roster that it's built ideally. It is not built ideally for what he wants to do. So to me, it's just a great mystery. The whole front. It could be a 6-man front. It could be a 7-man front, 4 down linemen, 3 down linemen. And Alabama is going to cause noise in the system because you'll probably have a game plan tailored just for them on the things that you trust that they can execute in a one-game one-off. Because after Alabama, you got 2 patsies and a bye week before you play Virginia. So they might be asked to do something totally different against Virginia than they will be asked to do against Alabama. There's just so much unknown. The offense, you kind of understand what Gus is going to do. It's what he's always done. You kind of understand what the tight ends are going to be asked to do, what the receivers and the running backs, what Tommy is going to be asked to do. Sure, we understand all those things. Defensively, what linebackers line up where? I don't know.
Okay, well, we do know some things. We know what, in an ideal world, the 3-3-5 intends to do with creating confusion and blitzing from many different angles.
Right.
Okay, so we know that's ideally what they're trying to do. Will they be able to do it? Which of those players are the ones most capable of creating said pressure? And, what are the roles for those that are not in place? Look, it's funny, but this is true. If you want to have fun with this, just in terms of what it's supposed to do, and again, you're right, personnel-wise, we don't know how they're going to be utilized. And there is even examples of this in professional sports. And it's cool because it's a little bit about technology and the era that we live as fans having access to more information than ever before. And that's true of even the video games that you play. If you get the latest edition when it comes out of College Football 26, all right, take a defense, take a team that runs a 3-3-5, or switch your own defense, whoever it is you take, whether you're the Noles or whoever you are, and make it a 3-3-5. And look at what your options are, and look at how you can utilize your personnel. I know that sounds absurd. Big-time college football is a lot different than a video game. But in terms of the philosophy and the positions and the formations, they're the same. And you can learn a little bit about how the ideal personnel is supposed to work in this situation.
Yeah, and Tony White's got to make that determination if he hasn't already in the first week or two of camp, if he believes that they've got the guys, the horses, to be able to do it at 2 levels. Because I'm not talking about defensive line linebacker. I'm talking about 2 levels of the depth chart, 2 lines, maybe is a better way to put it, of the depth chart. Because maybe James Williams and Darrell Jackson and Daniel Lyons and McCray are equipped for the fight. And maybe Elijah Herring is. And Stephon Thompson has run this system before. But is Juice Cryer, is Omar Graham, Blake Nicholson, are they ready to do this?
It's important that you bring up the linebackers. I think that's the most important element of all of this. Because if you go and look at any of the strategic football sites that we started to fall in love with, like Smart Football back in the day, and go on through, they'll talk so much about your linebacker run fits and the ability to flow the football and read and understand what an offense is attempting to do. And your linebackers run fits are vital in this situation. And I've been screaming about our run fits for a very long time now. And it infuriated me to watch how confused, how oftentimes you had 2 backers in the same, and they were slow to commit and flow downhill, and they'd end up in the same gap. And I'm like, that's not the way you draw it up. This is incredible to me that Adam Fuller has been here this long, and we're having this many problems. And Randy Shannon would infuriate me.
The trick play against Georgia Tech, it's one of the first drives of the season. Omar Graham has a responsibility in the background, and he waits an extra step, hesitation, and it's just enough time for the play to run successfully.
Yeah.
And there's no other responsibility you could possibly have than to get downhill. And the thing was, even that second drive that I pointed to a lot, where I'm like, well, look at this, the second group has done much better. I'm not sure linebackers aren't just guessing there and shooting a gap, or it might be a called pressure. But the guys got downhill, and you go, well, okay, that looks a hell of a lot better because you were decisive. Yeah, Tony's got to determine that. Now, he's got a couple of dudes that he knows can run it, but do you have 4 or 5? Does he like to rotate 4 linebackers in a game, or 5? Does he like to rotate how many defensive linemen? If it's a 3-man front, does he like to have 7 guys? Is it 5? It's hard to say. And also, one context clue that we did get, and we do know, is from player interviews in the spring, which Juice Cryer.
Loved it.
Well, he's saying that every drive might be different.
Yes. So you're disguising,
It could just be, and every play could be different. So it could be that within the framework of 70 plays in a football game, you've got 3 down linemen and a true 3-3-5. let's call it 50 plays in neutral, down and distance situations where as a coordinator, you can just call whatever you want. Like if it's 3rd and 15, you're going to do something different than if it's 3rd and 2. But if you're in a situation, it's 1st and 10, it's 2nd and 8. You kind of get to do whatever you want as a defensive coordinator. Say you get 50 of those. You call it 3-3-5, 25 out of those 50 times? 40 out of those 50 times? Are you calling a 4-2-5, 30 out of those 50 times? I mean, we're all going to be learning this together.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the different ways they employ personnel too. You're hitting on a point that all of us are intrigued by. We find it to be a curiosity because it really revolves around Tony White's ability to assess what his personnel can and cannot do. I do know this. Safety play is also of vital importance, and we had a guy that turned it down a lot last year. Going to need him not to do that because in every write-up on a 3-3-5, no matter where you look, they talk about a safety who comes up and runs support and is of vital importance in that role.
My concern, dude.
Yeah.
It's a big one.
Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV. Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. It's MillerSeptic.com.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs. From the fairway to the fire pit, we've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
Let me tell you, as a homeowner, I used to dread every rainstorm. Water would flow around the outside of my home, my yard, and the gutters would clog and overflow. I'd have to make sure I had buckets and duct tape ready every time. Then I called New Vision Gutters, and I can see the difference. Now I sleep through the storms. No puddles, no leaks, no clogs, no stress. If you've got water problems, trust me. Call the pros at New Vision Gutters, where they take pride and passion in protecting your most valuable possessions. It's the MVP treatment and the best call I ever made.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing NMLS 373031.
There's fun to be had every night at the Corner Pocket. Take home prizes on Trivia Tuesdays and Beer Bingo Thursdays. And kickstart your weekend with Martini Fridays. Plus, happy hour runs every weekday and game day specials every time the Knowles take the field. Watch all the best games at the Corner Pocket's Vegas Wall, featuring 560 inches of flat screen TV heaven.
Oh, really?
The best food, the best drinks, and the best place to watch all the games. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3. WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your sports flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
The Tampa Bay Rays losing in 10 innings on Tuesday night to the A's 4-3 at Steinbrenner Field, dropping their third straight game. Danny Jansen, Brandon Lau, and Christopher Morel all had solo home runs in the loss. Shane Baz struck out 11 over 7 innings. They remain a game and a half back of New York in the AL East. NBA, the Orlando Magic vetted Tyus Jones on a $7 million contract. Jones spent last season in Phoenix. He's considered one of the best backup point guards in the NBA, appeared in 81 games last year, averaged over 10 points and 5 rebounds per contest. In tennis, American Coco Gauff losing in her opening round match at Wimbledon Tuesday, losing to unseeded Diana Yastremska in 2 sets. Gauff entered the tournament as the number 2 seed after a win at the French Open. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo and save with Progressive. I'm Tony Desiri, Real Talk 93.3.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item, current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at Lowe's.com/lowest price guarantee.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Hey, you, can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass. Oh, but I just wanted to feel it. Excuse me? I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor? They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound? Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn. For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567. Stay off my lawn.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50. For those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
Florida's capital city. This is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
in recruiting. We'll let you know. We'll see. It should be happening any second now, I suppose. I'm Jeff. That is Tom. You're here. Appreciate that very, very, very much. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cameron Show. Still waiting word on the latest in recruiting, whether or not Ernest Rankins chooses Florida State. I think it's going on as we speak. So Tom will jump in almost like the weather window, only a recruiting window, and say yay or nay as it goes. Day baseball. Tom, turns out the Mets were prolific at the plate against the Pirates. I know I'm going to curse it, but they're through 7 in Pittsburgh, and the Cardinals still haven't scored. They also did not score a run yesterday or the day before. This would be a 3-game sweep if it is to occur, in which the Cardinals don't score any runs in 27 innings.
Oh, my. That is something. Well, if you keep this up, you're going to make the playoffs.
And by the way, this is not just screwing Mitch Keller on the Hill today, who, goodness gracious, this is. You could argue, Tom, this is the tryout for the Mets rotation. All you got to do is make the call.
Probably going to have to keep an eye on Jet Williams or some of our other prospects there, buddy, if we were to get him. I'll give you the rundown on those guys.
You'll have to, because I don't know. I know that we're getting close to NFL training camps opening up. I know that we're getting closer and closer, as I said before, to us being in Charlotte and the start of really all things college football. So we're almost there. We're walking this road together, gang. We're just trying to get there together, survive another day, get into the 40s. When I come back on the air, well, we're on the air tomorrow. But when we have Friday off for the 4th of July and then we come back on Monday, we're in the 40s until college football starts. And that just puts a smile on my face. Nothing can get me down right now. Although I say that, and whenever we go into the All-Star weekend, as much as I like, baseball, the All-Star stretch there is tough because it's literally the only time in which nothing in sports is going on. That's why we typically take some days off. But we're working to line up some great interviews for you guys during that stretch. And I already have one with David Hale lined up and others. So I'm gonna go ahead and submit some of those things. I'm gonna try to vary it this year, though. Maybe one for each of the sports, like the big 3. I'll do a baseball one. I'll do one with basketball. I saw where Luke posted day 1.
Yeah, if they bother to make Link available, that'd be great.
Well, I mean, he's probably not available right now.
Well, in season, out of season, don't matter.
Yeah. Well, you haven't really spent any time asking for Link.
You picking up something?
I would imagine we could probably round it. Him, Micah. Hey, listen, we probably should interview Micah. We've just been stockpiling arms.
I should have requested him instead. Maybe they would have made him available.
I'm just saying this. They are stockpiling arms over there, buddy. And I'm here for it because I was frustrated. Okay, we're going to have options. Knock on wood, nobody gets banged up or whatever, but we're going to have some effing options. Kids that have played college football, pitched from the right side effectively. Options. Let's go. Because they'll find a way offensively. I brought that up earlier. They'll find a way offensively because, look, you're going to have speed at the top of the order and you're going to have enough pop in the middle of the order. Just got to piece it together everywhere else and have some guys take a step forward. And I'm sure that'll happen too.
You're going to have to lean on development in the order. The bottom half. Yes, 100%. But you know what? I'd like to be in the 7th inning and not feel like, well, if this guy doesn't pitch well today, we're screwed for the weekend. Like that's not a great feeling.
Right. It's not a great feeling. It would be disconcerting to say the least. I know we ended the last hour talking about this defense, and you know what it did? It sent me down a path, and thank goodness there's no shortage of information, man. Go out there and look at any number of websites dedicated to the X's and O's of American football, and you will find a ton of matchup information, how the 3-3-5 does against, say, spread formations and what they're doing with the, balanced offenses and what they can do with the stack formation. It's just kind of fun to look at the different stunts and the different things that a 3-3-5 forces you to do regarding, your pass protection. If you're using it's just kind of neat to watch And to go down that rabbit hole, I was about to do the thing if I weren't in mid-show where you end up, I don't know, spending 2 hours investigating this with video. Oh, here's what they did against spread. Here's what they did when they were in man. Here's what they did when they were in zone. Here's how they exacted pressure here. Here's how the run fits work here.
Yeah, I could tell you. We looked at some of these numbers when we were at the Sky Club on the way home on Monday. The one concern I have, it's not necessarily a career-long concern of Tony White's. It's not the kryptonite across Syracuse and Nebraska all seasons he's been a coach, but specifically last season, Nebraska was awful at stopping deep passes. Passes, I'll specifically define it, air yards of 15 or greater. 15 yards or more, air yards down the field. It was better than a coin flip, better than 50%. I think it was 29 out of 56, 57, were explosive plays against Nebraska. They were bottom 5 in many metrics when you're talking about quarterback rating against, yards per completion, boom rate for your opponents against the deep ball. And while the numbers don't suggest that Tony White has had this problem more than just last year at Nebraska. It might have just been specifically a personnel issue that they might have had one season's worth of personnel issues. We closed by discussing safety briefly and my concerns there. I'm just hoping he doesn't have to have a badass safety in order to be able to stop the deep ball. Hopefully it has something to do with maybe the front and pressuring the passer. Maybe that will affect the ability for Tony White to be able to stop the deep ball. Though just the one thing last year, there's a lot of things that you look at and you say, wow, Nebraska handled business against like competition or in some circumstances better competition, the Ohio State example. The deep ball was a problem for them last year.
That might be personnel oriented.
I'm hoping so. Because 2022 Nebraska didn't have that problem. Syracuse didn't have that problem under his tutelage either.
I'm going to say this, and this is true. We get caught up. I know immediately when our fan base, and to some degree me, heard 335, kind of, lukewarm about that. Got a little lukewarm about that.
It's got a soft reputation. I'll say it.
I'm not a huge fan. I always thought when we faced it, when Florida State had even decent teams, I was like, oh, good, 335. We'll be all right. But I do know something that's an adage of coaches, and it's true of offensive football, and it's true of defensive football. And this is why you can't blanket statement about any one scheme, is that any offense that you run, just like any defense that you run, and I'm talking about schematically, can be very effective if executed properly and coached well. All of them can. All of them succeed if and are executed. If coached and executed properly, any system you run can be successful. Now, where the nuance in the debates happen, typically to me, are when you're talking about the best of the best that you have to face every week. So like in the NFL, the way you would quantify it and talk about it is very different than the way you would, even though those fundamentals remain true, than the way you would in college. Because in college, a lot of times there are, especially if you're part of the haves and you have real cachet, meaning you've recruited well and you've got upper crust talent. There are 8 games a year, 7 games a year minimum where you're bigger, stronger, faster. So run whatever the hell scheme you want when you're bigger, stronger, faster, including the most predictable schemes. 4-3 man over was run forever and a day by Miami and us and others. It's just sort of like, okay, you know where I'm going to be, but my players are better than your players. I'm going to win the battles. I don't care what you're running. My guy's better than your guy. I win. Run whatever scheme you want to run. In the NFL, it's a little different. My guys aren't better than your guys. The coaching matters a lot in the National Football League, and because guys, they're all dudes. They were all the best. I understand some teams are better than others in the NFL in a given year, but that has a lot to do with salary cap mistakes and draft mistakes and those kinds of things. But the players themselves were all elite players. They wouldn't be there. And then we get into a different discussion about what schemes work and what schemes don't based on talent versus talent being pretty close to equal. That's a different discussion. than it is in college.
No, a lot of times it comes down to one-on-ones in the NFL. It's isolate a one-on-one where you have at least a marginal advantage. And that could be tight end on safety. That could be, Justin Jefferson against a corner, any corner. But you really tend to, the really good teams tend to have that one guy at minimum, that one guy who, when all else fails, it's nothing more than just a one-on-one drill, as though it was a 7-on-7 in a practice.
Right.
Like, we need to hold up. Whatever y'all 5 need to do, plus the running back need to do in protection, give me 2.5 seconds to let this guy just out-athlete the other guy.
Yeah.
There's nothing to it.
John Gruden did this all the time with motion.
Yep.
That's all he was doing.
That's what Gus will do this year.
It's just an effort time and again to find the one-on-one matchup in which you have the athletic superiority.
Or the leverage in terms of the blocking.
Or the leverage in terms of the blocking. That's right.
Yep.
And so you would just watch it and go, well, there's a mismatch. This is a problem. And you see it.
And you might,
as soon as they go in motion.
Look, you might have a bum first down play, and on 2nd and 11, you might call a setup play for something that'll benefit you later. Like, well, we're going to punt this drive unless, they're guilty of illegal contact, which the officials like to gift us all the time. But on 2nd and 11, I might call something out of a formation knowing that there's a 20% chance that we're going to get a first down here. But if I run this now and I run it twice more in the 4th quarter, there's a real shot that we get an explosive. And that might be the difference in the game. And it's going to be thanks to the fact that we set up their linebackers by calling this innocuous-looking thing because the counterpunch is coming off of it. Yeah, Gus is going to be doing a lot of that stuff. We hope we're not in 2nd and 11, but a lot of those pre-snap motions to try and generate a look so that it's an easy read for Tommy to either give, keep, or throw, that kind of a thing.
Did you see that the NFL is announcing they're doing through their top 100 players of 2025, and Josh Sweat was number 95.
95. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I bring this up partly because it's a different subject matter. I mean, we're kind of moving on, but I have to say that warms my heart. In no world did we see Josh Sweat here that we thought we would end up seeing him on a top 100 list in the National Football League all these years later, right?
No, it seemed like that was going to be one of those what could have been careers, what might have been. What happened to, those types of articles. And it's not because he wasn't, wound properly between the ears. He was a great interview, always.
Oh, was just smart guy, yeah. He was just always banged up.
Oft heard. He told me he wanted to be a history teacher if it didn't work out. Like, really? You don't ever hear that answer. If football doesn't work out, I love history. I'd love to be a history teacher. And he got paid this offseason.
Yes, he did.
You'll see all those clips from Philly, but remember, everybody, that defense got poached. The Eagles defense did.
Thank goodness. Tired of looking at him.
So he's now in Arizona. So when they cut to Arizona highlights, I'll change the channel. I'll be like, I hope that was a good one, Josh. I can't do it. Can't do it.
The Cardinals fall under the category of teams that Tom will not watch.
There's a pink tint when they go to those games, too. It's something weird about that building.
He had 8 sacks, second on the team with 15 QB hits. He is one of 6 edge rushers with 4+ sacks and 10+ quarterback hits each of the last 6 seasons. Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Max Crosby. I mean, that's the category that he falls in of player, at least in terms of, what he's done in the last year or so. It's cool. I just get excited about the guys that are making it happen in the league. And I would not have guessed that he was going to emerge eventually at this point to where he is. Just kind of cool. And I like the top 100 list, by the way. I watch it every year.
Oh, you watch it through and through?
I watch it through and through.
Wow.
Because the players vote on it.
That's true.
The players vote on it. They know who the hell is a dog and who they have to deal with and how difficult it is. Now, normally it coincides with like performative stats, but normally you're like, oh.
But it's not like Shefty and Rappaport and Peter Schrager's list.
It's offensive tackles going, I hate having to deal with this dude.
Right.
This guy's a problem. That's why that list matters to me, man. I love it. When a lot of times it's weird because you'll see a guy in a place that's way below where you thought he should be based on whatever his numbers were that year. That's somebody telling you, he's kind of a system guy, not as tough to deal with as you think. And other times a guy's numbers suggest he shouldn't be on the list at all. And he's 73rd. You're like, why? They're like, he's a physical menace. I can't stop him every day. And it's hilarious to watch them talk about it.
Yeah, it's a name you've never heard of.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a guard.
He's an interior guard. Yeah. He's made one Pro Bowl. He's innocuous, and nobody likes dealing with him.
Number 73, Grant Fields Fanning.
Yeah. It's Grant Fields Fanning.
Look, I got to tell you guys, GFF is one of the worst matchups in the sport.
If he gets his hands on you, you're on your ass. It's over.
So strong. GFF. I hate that I'm in the same division with GFF. I got to tell you. I'd never tell him that, but I guess he knows now.
Oh, that's funny. Pitch Penny Pools and Spas have everything you need for pool maintenance, chemicals, cleaners, pumps, vacuums, nets, covers, you name it, they've got it. You already knew that they had the largest selection of premium hot springs hot tubs in the entire city, but did you know that they now have cold plunge tubs as well from our friends at Hot Springs? Jumping in the game, understanding how popular it's become, making sure that they too provide the best and highest quality tubs, cold plunge tubs now in the business, just the same as they do with premium Hot Springs hot tubs. You can see what I'm talking about, even test it out. Go over to Pitch and Penny Pools and Spas off of Greer Road. You'll find a large assortment of the hot tubs and now cold plunge tubs as well. Good stuff. I am impressed every time I go over there. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
Ready to spice things up, Tallahassee? Slide into the all-new Tallulah Love Shop, your one-stop pleasure palace. From sensual toys and steamy couples kits to luscious aphrodisiacs and pheromone perfumes that whisper, yeah. And oh, don't forget the THC slushies, flower, 7-0 kratom, and sweet edible treats that hit just right. Grab your partner or come solo and see the all-new Tallulah Love Shop at 1530 Mahan Drive. More love, more fun, always at Tallulah.
When it's time to honor a life well lived, trust Cornerstone Memorials. Experts in creating meaningful memorials with generations of care and craftsmanship. We help you create a lasting tribute to your loved ones. Cornerstone Memorials creates custom designed headstones, mausoleums, detailed stone engraving, and more. Visit cornerstonememorials.org or call today to speak with a compassionate expert. Cornerstone Memorials, honoring life and preserving legacy.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
No matter what printing you need to keep your business running, we can help. Hi, Jason Butera here for The Printery. Reduce your stress and give us a call. From new product brochures or posters to yard signs, postcards, even letterhead and envelopes, The Printery sets the standard in personalized service with outstanding results. We offer full-service graphic design and free pickup and delivery. The Printery, home of 36-cent color copies. If it's ink on paper, we've got it covered. Call us today, 877-6418. 877-6418.
The weather is unpredictable and can cause issues around your home. Weston Trawick provides commercial, residential, and industrial electrical wiring services, yearly inspections on fire alarms, portable generator sales, and so much more. With 24/7 emergency service and repair, Weston Trawick will be your calm in the storm. Give them a call at 514-0003. Weston Trawick. Professional electrical services day or night. Visit online at westontrawick.com.
Science-backed, technology-tracked, and coach-led. Hey, Jeff Cameron here. You've heard me rave about the benefits of Orange Theory Fitness and the proven track record of science-backed interval training. Well, now Orange Theory Fitness has done it again, adding more ways for you to improve your health and look your best. In addition to the always great standard workouts, OTF has added Tread 50 and Strength 50 for those in the mood to just lift for an afternoon or attack those cardio goals for the day. Take the guesswork out of exercise. Make sure you're getting the most out of each and every workout. Orange Theory Fitness, location Midtown Tallahassee and Village Square Boulevard.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
If just in case you're wondering, it's 5-0 Pirates. I figured you were wondering.
Oh, man. What is going on?
Ass kicking, Tom.
The brothers of the P
have risen up out of nowhere. It's getting fun.
Who's next? Who you play this weekend?
Take your ass kickings.
Is this the West Coast trip?
I think so, yeah.
I remember those guys talking about it in center field.
Yeah, Big West. I think we're going out to Seattle and Kansas City. And
that's right. The one guy was talking about it. He's like, then they go out to Seattle, and you're like, that's right. And then they go, yes, they've got a trip before the All-Star. And the guy goes, before the All-Star break. I'm like, yep.
Yeah.
In stereo here.
It's all. Oh, man. Yeah. You got to hear all the revved upness of Pirates fans right now.
Nobody was as revved up, though, as the gatekeeper, the literal gatekeeper in left field of PNC Park. Your favorite guy ever.
Yeah. That was something. I will forever remember that. He takes his job very seriously and then adds to his assignments. Just non-existent. Like, nobody's asking you to do all this. You're not the head of security. You stop this.
He's the guy that goes to...
Bob, we're going to need him over here. Bob, let's get him back up over here. Come on, dude.
He's the guy that goes to a political rally for the incumbent and walks up to the Secret Service and says, I'm in the business too.
Yeah. I'm in the business too has probably been uttered numerous times. Yes, by that particular guy. Good God, man. Another commit, this one to Alabama. We have yet to learn about ours.
Yeah, Bama's now up to 4 5-stars.
Yeah, imagine that. They recruit pretty well. I'll just say this.
That's what the board blows it.
The Cedarian Morgan commitment at wide receiver, he stays in Alabama, commits today to the Crimson Tide. That's good news, and here's the reason why. He was in the running to go to Florida. So we don't need all that. Alabama beats out Auburn, Colorado, Georgia, and Florida. Yeah, he's 6'4", can go, do all the things. Alabama's back to recruiting exceptionally well. They also got the linebacker who I knew we were not going to get, the Xavier Griffin kid. But, whatever. I mean, I didn't expect to get him. I hated when that announcement came out. They're like, yes, Xavier Griffin commits to Alabama over Florida State, Texas, and Ohio State. Come on, we weren't in the running.
I think that one's.
We weren't.
I think that one is also wait 15 minutes, like Florida weather in the summer.
Maybe.
I'm not saying that means that we get him. I'm just saying that.
Well, it was 5 different commits, right? He did a lot of those things.
I think the market just keeps going up. I think he's like, well, I'm committed for now, Coach. I'm so thrilled to be committed for now to Alabama.
Yeah.
You keep showing me your commitment, and I will continue to stay committed for now.
Yeah, it's funny. There used to be telltale signs in recruiting that you wanted to stay away from guys unless they were just preternaturally gifted and you were like, well, kind of need to take that guy. He probably didn't end up here and may end up causing a problem, but he's that kind of special. That doesn't really exist anymore. Kids are just incessantly shopping themselves. It does speak to a certain mindset that you don't love, but
I think in this instance, though, to be a 5-star, I think that's better. It's like you look at the offer list for a 3-star or a low 4-star, high 3-star. Like, all right, who else was in on them? And if it's a bunch of SEC schools, well, okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like this better than if it was Houston and Purdue and Washington State. You're like, oh, I know he's a 4-star, but Washington State, Purdue, Houston? Okay. But it could be a 3-star, and it's Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Arkansas, LSU.
Yeah, you're like, okay. Yeah, no, I do the same thing. I think everybody does.
I think in this instance that this kid is, I don't know, on like commitment number 5 or 6, and yet the big dogs still want him, that's better than any huddle or any analysis you can get on any site about how good this kid is. These universities know it's a headache. They're like, it doesn't matter if it's a headache. We're going to get this kid.
It used to be pretty simple when you were going against Alabama, and it changed. There were indicators that perhaps he was slipping, and we ended up finding that out the wrong way. But if Nick Saban was offering a guy, you're like, well, his ability to predict or to project has always been very good. And then all of a sudden it became not a thing, and he was on the cusp of retirement before we realized it. And then we ended up getting these guys that were ex-Bama players, and every one of them sucked. And you're going, well, I'll be. The timing of that is something. Every one of the guys that we brought in from Alabama that Nick gave a scholarship to has turned out to be sorry.
Hang on Earl Little. Hang in there for Earl Little.
Still hanging.
He's got a lot of gusto. He does not turn it down. He's just got to get to the place where he
doesn't know where he's supposed to be.
Right.
Everybody else. But sorry.
You have to get face-to-face to turn it down.
But sorry.
He won't turn it. Yeah, the linebacker was the problem. That was a big one.
The linebacker, the offensive lineman hasn't done anything. The whole bunch of but sorry.
You never know. Roydell might do something. Malik Benson didn't.
We don't think that he's going to do much. We'll see. I'm rooting for the kid, though. I like him. He's fun to talk to.
Yeah, I agree. They brought Sawchuck in for a reason. If you're a veteran, you're like, man.
They went out and spent a lot of money to beat a running back in from Georgia, to beat Georgia, and then they went out and got another running back. That doesn't tell you much that they love about the room.
I got to tell you guys, I thought I had a great camp. Coach, what did I do wrong? I felt like I had a great camp. Well, you had a great camp. Well, then why'd you go get Sawchuck and Chroma? Well, son, you had a great camp for you. He has great camps for most people.
Yeah, it's the 400-pound kid that loses 75 pounds, and you're very proud of him, and you're like, I'm so proud of you. You're doing great. Oh, I can't wait to model those clothes. Well, now let's hold on, son. Let's slow our roll here. We're very proud of you that you're not about to die tomorrow of a heart attack, but we haven't reached the point where you're going to be modeling anything.
Well, it's the old adage, honey, does this make me look fat? And the proper answer is, it makes you look thinner.
It's the fat that makes you look fat. It's not the dress.
This makes you look sleek. Spelt.
Hey, NoldDad77, I didn't give you your proper due early in the show. I just now saw that you had become a YouTube member, and I appreciate that. You're here most days as is. You ought to be a member, and I hope you enjoy the bells and whistles that go with the membership there. What do they get? Emojis?
Yeah, sometimes bonus headlines too, but mostly emojis.
Hey,
expanded content coming.
Earl Little might end up being pretty good. Dupree, you're not wrong. Earl did excel at safety, and so we'll see.
Excel?
That's a bit much, but yeah, I see where he's going.
He excelled at the effort department. In terms of making splash plays.
No, he played fast.
Yeah.
Which none of the other players did.
Which was nice to see. But yeah.
I'll tell you what. They may not be good on defense this year. They may be average. But I think they're going to play really fast and really hard. And I'll welcome that all day. I couldn't watch it last year. I wanted to call Adam Fuller and saying, why don't your guys run? None of them run like they're in a hurry to get somewhere. Plays need to be getting in like this. Well, you have to be violent and fast. I'm watching uncertainty, hesitation, and slow.
I really, the two guys that are from last year's roster that I'm so excited to see in this defense. And it may work, it may not. But Earl Little is number one by far, with all the different things that they ask from defensive backs. You could be rushing the pass. He's shot out of a cannon.
Dupree came back and was strong.
What do you say?
Showed flashes, looked more of a fit at safety. That's the proper descriptor.
Yeah, showed flashes is correct. Yeah.
That is the more proper descriptor.
He could excel. He might. The other guy's Juice. Juice is cerebral. He's going to love this team.
You have two different problems here. Juice is cerebral, not as athletic as you'd like him to be. He's physical, but not as athletic as you'd like him to be.
With the 3 linebackers, you probably can put him in a spot where he doesn't have to be, and you let Elijah handle a lot of
No, I think Elijah
sideline.
feels like a sideline guy. Yeah.
But Juice can thump a little bit, and we need that.
I'm rooting for Juice because he's a great interview and a good kid and a hard worker and very strong and violent. He's not physical. He's just not elite athletically. Maybe that improves. He is. I think they like him. So
proper coaching can make you play a step faster.
Oh, without question. And there's just I want someday for it all to be on the record, not to lampoon, not to besmirch, not to just belittle time and again, but to learn what on earth happened to the 2024 Florida State football program. I mean, what on earth happened simultaneous, the calamitous level of errors that had to occur both in evaluation and coaching to lead to the physical impotence we witnessed on the field a year ago has to be, maybe it's not complex. Maybe it is very, very simple. Whatever it was something I'd never seen before. I'd never seen somebody have it in a place that we would all certainly designate as in a good position for long-term success. How about that? I'll modestly label where we were. So when the 30 for 30 comes out, we'll know. I want to be the one doing the interviews for the 30 for 30. I have so many questions. The forlorn, far away, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening look on Mike's face in the BC game told you and me and anybody paying attention that this was so much worse than we ever thought it could be. He knew it in that very moment. He knew, oh no. That's the only thing that explains that look. We'd never seen it before. I hope to never see it again. You might see anger. You might see frustration. You might see sadness. You might see euphoria. You may see any number of things. That look of my life is falling to pieces before my eyes. I never want to see again. It was crazy.
If you see that look again, you'll see a new car in the parking spot for the head coach shortly thereafter. I mean,
that night I would walk down and fire him on the field because I know what's coming.
Right.
I know it's coming, but that was nuts.
I think my theory here when it comes to Mike's culpability, which he's responsible for everything, but I mean something he really put his hands on or decided to not do, was those kids did what was asked of them, but they didn't do the extra stuff that that the predecessors did in Mike's program that helped build to a level. The Jermaine Johnsons, Keir Thomas, Jared Verse, Jordan Travis. I mean, there's Tatum Bethune's. There's a lot of those guys that did the extra things on top of the necessary things at practice and in the weight room. He let it slide because he thought that all right, cut him a little slack. We'll be fine. And then he realized, oh God, we're not even close to fine. The reason I think that is because when he came to the media in September last year and said, I've challenged these guys. What are you willing to do in order to make yourself better? That statement is so loaded. It's crazy. It speaks to a bunch of things.
It does. We agree on this, but
he's apologizing for failing in that moment because he's not forcing the kids to do what is necessary. So that is one major ingredient. I'm not saying it's the total reason. I'm just saying that look on his face, I think, has a lot to do with whatever decisions he made to allow the standard to slip and the work to not get done.
I think everybody can add to this conversation, and they do often in the chat. Today's a day where I'm actually looking at the chat a little bit more and responding because it's that time of year. And I think everybody can be right on this to varying degrees. I think it's just a soup of discontent. You end up having so many things. I think that's true. What you just said is true. I don't think they were very talented either. I don't think they were very talented at all. I think there was a lot of subpar players who joined forces with bad attitudes and fragile mindsets that had some things go wrong early in fighting, followed by no leadership and an unwillingness to commit further to one another and or the coaching staff. This was a complete meltdown, but it really, really troubles me that could ever happen. At the level that we're at, given the success in the prior season, You should not be poised for the kind of nuclear meltdown we witnessed a year ago. It shouldn't be that easy.
Well, and Mike called to attention and apologized for his body language in the offseason. So it wasn't just that we saw something in the Boston College game that we flagged and it was out of context, as the media is often accused of doing things like that, playing them out of context. Mike himself called it to attention that his body language was poor last season.
Yeah, he did.
And he's going to fix that. If you juxtapose his body language from the Louisville game in his first year and that moment.
Yeah, there's
a total difference there. Not the scoreboard and not the situation. You're getting your butt whipped in both situations. But that first year, Louisville, Mike's expression on the sideline was all about, his body language was all about, here's what I'm about to do. This is happening. This is happening. Here's what I'm about to do. Get me now while you can, because I'm going to build something.
Yes.
The body language against Boston College was, what have I done? It's, oh God, what have I done? It was completely different. One was looking forward to the next thing. The other was having it wash over him the things that have happened that led him get to this moment. Two totally different places for him mentally.
To me, that is a sign that he miscalculated certain things and then came to the realization, startlingly so in the moment, and he married it with the things that he already knew were problematic. And he knows in that moment they're in real trouble. But I will tell you this, we now know, and we knew then, and we couldn't say anything because there was a whole season to play out and some of the information we got at the time. Got to be careful with how you use the Georgia Tech game coming off the field. At halftime, there were issues with certain players going into the locker room.
30 minutes of football.
They played 30 minutes of football in Ireland in a unique setting in the first game of the year, and they don't have a good half. And they're coming off the field, and you have immediate problems with certain players that are supposed to be leaders. And to me, in that moment, that is the moment where it is all on the line. You're going to save the season or you're not, because that's where, as a coach, you step in and go, oh, no, sir, we are not having any of this. I don't care what you've done in the past or who you are. You'll sit your ass in this second half. I'll play everybody not named you before I put you back in. This isn't going to happen.
Yeah, that's the most disappointing thing of all to me. More than anything that happened in the offseason that led to the moment. Okay, Boston College happens. You have conceded in the second quarter down 7-0 with your face. That's the look Mike has. It's 7-0, 11 minutes to go. BC's near and goal to go or in the red zone, and his face is a deer in the headlights. You still have 10 games to make decisions from that point, which can include running kids off, dismissing them, suspending them, benching them.
Because the alternative is what happened.
Correct.
So you know already that's where we're headed if I don't put an end to this.
That's the disappointing thing.
And there's a certain defensive end that would have had 30 seconds of my time. That's it. Yep. That's all. And we're done. We're done.
What's the difference?
Yes. If you're going to stand and do dick all, then goodbye. We're done. And I hope that so many years from now we look back and say, it's incredible. We watched a young coach learn very valuable lessons. It was a tough one to go through, but my goodness, we've now seen that that's not possible.
He had us walk arm in arm with him. Arm in arm as he learned those lessons. He said, come on, I'm going to take you on a ride. We're going to learn together what it looks like to screw it up.
Shannon Young, you guys know, made the move over to the nation's largest mortgage company. That is Cross Country Mortgage. I can talk about the advantages it gives him. I appreciate that. But I will say this. I really think Shannon's greatest attribute, besides the fact that he's very intelligent and knows the business very well, it's his work ethic. He is a hard worker. He is committed. He's unwavering in that commitment. And you know what? It's an added bonus that he happens to be a Knoll. And he helps his fellow Knolls. He's relentless. He is goal-oriented. He is going to help you get the loan you need for the house of your dreams. Loansforknolls.com is the website. Go check it out. Loansforknolls.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Overcast this afternoon with thunderstorms likely. High temperatures reach up to 89. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Mainly cloudy skies expected tonight. Thunderstorms likely. Lows around 74. Highs around 91 with fog early tomorrow. Chance for storms. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, 89.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying, or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 373031.
There he is. Haven't seen this guy since, what was it? Oh, shoot. U2 at the Sphere in Las Vegas, baby.
Hey, how about that, man? Wasn't that fun?
Good show. Good show. Everything about it. Nearly perfect. Nearly perfect.
I had everything I could possibly want.
I wanted one thing, couldn't find it, and I looked everywhere. No Cubans.
What do you mean? There was
Cubans.
There was Cubans.
No, I didn't see any Cubans.
Dude, I'm sure there was Cubans there. I mean, you know.
No. I walked around. There was a moment right before the show. I thought, got to find some Cubans. Nothing.
Dude, there's Cubans. There was Cubans. I'm sure there was Cubans.
In Las Vegas?
In Las Vegas.
No Cubans in Vegas.
There's Cubans in Vegas, man.
Eddie, there were no Cubans.
Chef.
The sandwich. There were no Cuban sandwiches. You're Cuban. Of course I know there were Cubans there.
Oh, the sandwich. Yeah, no, there probably wasn't many there in Vegas.
No Cubans.
No, not yet.
Florida, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Still no word, Tommy, huh? I'm going to take it it's not happening today. I don't know why anybody thought it was.
We'll see.
It's just hey, I'm announcing tomorrow at noon. It's 2:47.
Somebody must be fielding some phone calls, maybe. Maybe some late phone calls are happening. You never know.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, Auburn's involved in this recruitment, and they've been falling to pieces. I'm sure they've got a lot of money lying around. That's one theory. Or it's just that, I don't know, Hayes at On 3 is taking extra time. He's like, well, I could use a different photo for this edit of you over the stadium to create this 3-dimensional look that I think would be really fly. What do you think, Ernest?
Maybe it's like, no, I said it was going to be Thursday. I'm doing it Thursday. Why did you guys think I was doing it today? Why would I do it on a Wednesday, guys? It's Thursday.
I didn't say
tomorrow at noon.
July 2nd. I said the second half of July.
Aggravating. Came in here ready to roll. Was expecting yet another big boost, a big shot in the arm. I'd like to believe. Now, again, that's just me getting all riled up about something that I don't get riled up about all that often. So that'd be silliness. I'll lay back in the cut and wait and see. Even if he doesn't commit to Florida State, they've had a good run here. Unlike Americans at Wimbledon, good Lord, dropping like flies. You know, you and I being in the airport, not yesterday, but the day before, watching Wimbledon for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
Got me into watching Wimbledon yesterday and a bit again this morning. Now here I am. I'm like, I'm going to watch the entire field.
Well, it's because we saw a good 5-set match.
We did.
Don't expect to see that on day one.
No, not typically. 2 outs in the ninth, 5-0 Buccos. I want this shutout. Now I'm getting greedy. Now let's get this shutout. Lock it up.
Yeah, Clay Holmes was cruising, and now he's out of the game.
Tied at 2?
Yeah, well, it was 2-1 starting the 6th. 5 1/3 for a Mets starter. That's like a complete freaking game.
Yeah, that was a gift. You guys should be buoyed as you are now, just thinking to yourself, it's happened, guys. Everybody, you got the day off yesterday. We just got 5 1/3. Let's go. Nobody's tired out here.
Reed Garrett came in, and we'll see. Reed has been shakier than a used car salesman the last couple of weeks.
Who do you think the best unknown commodity is on the team this for the upcoming season? I got to ask that question twice. And no, I don't know. The Noles. We got asked this last week before we went on vacation. Got asked again in headlines, and I had somebody email it to me. Everybody's just looking for a diamond in the rough, I guess. I thought it was a weirdly oft-asked question, but when I think about it, the reason for it makes sense. You've got upwards of 18 new starters, set of 22. So everybody's just kind of like, I don't know who's going to be the guy. Who's going to surprise us? Who's going to be the guy that out of nowhere rises up? But I would think, and it doesn't fall under this category, I guess, out of nowhere, because if you've been paying attention, they talk about him incessantly, but wouldn't it be Boggs?
Yeah, I don't think he qualifies, but for the reason that you're implying, but yeah, Boggs could be the guy. It could be Kevin Wynn. I mean, in theory, there are a lot of dudes above him on the depth chart, but he's already 340 pounds. So he could help you immediately and be kind of a gap plugger for you. It could be Landon Thomas at tight end. We've spent a lot of time on Pittman and a lot of time on Amari Williams. What if Landon Thomas is really good?
And he might be.
That would be a surprise if he was. Maybe he could be your best H-back. And Gus likes to line up guys in weird positions at that if you're a tight end. So it could be a player like that. But I think we're pretty well covered on the candidates at most positions of who's going to be the standouts.
Yeah, there's a part of me that thinks that I ought to just vote on Usmani Kroma. He's not unknown in any way. He was a huge get for Florida State, but he is a true freshman walking in here. And if I'm picking him, I'm telling you he's going to shine in year one.
What if it's somebody like Ashland Barker?
Oh, that'd be so cool. You know, I love Ashland Barker. I've loved his size and thought, man, wouldn't that be cool?
I've got concerns at safety, but maybe it's one of those unheralded guys that you know where he's going to be. That's all that matters. You know, LaMarcus Brutus was not a heralded player, but when he was
finally at the end, he really worked out.
And he was kind of like an Ashland Barker.
Got people lined up.
Right. And he knew where to be, and he was where he was supposed to be himself. And that's really a huge part of the equation if you're playing center field.
Karen Earl Little Jr. was the point of discussion earlier in the show. Yes, he is most certainly on the team and is expected to be a big-time contributor this year. I hope Garrett's right. I've been rooting for Lucas Simmons since the day he got on campus. I mean, he 100% looks the part, but we really never got anything out of him. He had a terrible first year because of the medical situation, so it was a lost year. Typically, when you lose a year due to medical, you're kind of losing 2.
Optimus says Amari Williams as a third down defensive end.
Yeah, that's not bad.
You pair him. We've been struggling to come up with, outside of James Williams, who's your guy. Well, if it's 3rd and 12, you don't have to be excellent and technical as a defensive lineman. You just got to be able to beat the guy across from you. Amari Williams is athletic as hell.
A lot of people have picked Jalen Lucas when we have this discussion because you've got to find a way to use the shiftiness, the speed, the versatility. You've got to find a way to, and Gus's system, you think maybe you can, right? So that's true. I'm okay with you there.
Oh, you certainly have a lot of speed. I liked how tough he was, Jalen Lucas. He's not a muscle hamster, but he didn't go down easy for a fast guy either. And you're going to need that in Gus's system.
I was sad that he got hurt because I thought he had a great camp, and then he was shot out of a cannon when we saw him, and there was a moment in time you're like, oh, this kid's going to be electrifying this year, and then
he was the best player in the first quarter of the Georgia Tech game.
Yes, he was. And apparently got really hurt in the first quarter of the Georgia Tech game.
I just lost track of him.
I don't know.
And he apologized. He got hurt next week, or maybe the Memphis game.
Yeah, I've always wondered about that. I think he got hurt in that game.
Well, Mike would have done better than to apologize for losing track of him than to say,
well,
he got dinged. What do you
I
want?
want it to be true that he got hurt in that game because I'm telling you, it's unforgivable to lose track of your most productive player. It makes zero sense.
Yeah, other than Toafili, who, he'd get.
No, I'm saying in the game. Like
Yeah,
that game, it was him. How do you lose track of the guy that's the only one getting you yards?
He had the look. He had that look. Hey, I mean, shoot, he made up for the whiff block on the end around play. It's a simple block,
yes,
Jeff.
Yes.
It's a simple block.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And when it's not executed, you probably should be stopped at the line of scrimmage, and he got 7 or 8 yards out of that play. God forbid we seal it. That's a touchdown.
Yes, it is, Tom. We should have had a watch along for the game in Ireland. We had so many moments where we all just looked at each other. And we had the best view that we're ever going to have at a football game.
Yeah.
It should be noted, the Irish do it right for the press. I mean, outdoor, cool air, 50 perch just right. Oh, buddy.
I know it's debatable, but do you think Jalen Lucas would have caught the pass that they threw to Cam Davis?
There seems to have been immense pressure on Mike to get Cam Davis touches. I can't explain it any other way because the productivity was not there. So why did you keep giving him the ball?
You think every single running back on the team would have caught the ball there? And I'm not trying to harp on Cam. It's the decision to put a true freshman in that situation.
I felt bad for Toafili. I felt bad for those who had been productive to watch them get pulled off the field.
We failed Toafili in his career here.
We did. Good kid. No announcement yet for those waiting to hear about it. We do have a final hour forthcoming. Stay with Chef Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.